My ex and best friend told everyone I was crazy. I didn't fight. I sent a group email with their texts and moved away. Their panic messages were everything. So there I was, 26, and thinking life was finally getting back on track after my breakup with Logan 3 months prior. We'd been together for 2 years, and honestly, it ended pretty amicably. Or so I thought. We just weren't compatible long-term, you know? Different life goals, different values. I figured we'd both move on like adults. Boy, was I wrong. It all started when I ran into Jake at Target while grabbing some groceries. Jake and I went to college together, and we'd always been cool. He seemed weird, though, kind of awkward, like he was trying to avoid eye contact while we chatted by the Pepsi display. "Hey, everything okay?" I asked, because Jake's usually pretty chill and straightforward. He shifted his weight, looking uncomfortable as heck. "Look, I probably shouldn't say anything, but I thought you should know what people are saying." My stomach dropped. "What people? Saying what?" "Logan and Claire have been telling everyone you went totally psycho after the breakup, like full-on crazy girlfriend mode. They're saying you threatened Logan, kept showing up at his place the whole 9 yards. I literally stood there holding a bag of Doritos, completely stunned. Claire wasn't just any friend. She'd been my best friend since sophomore year of college. We'd been through everything together. Breakups, job stress, family drama, you name it. And Logan? Sure, we'd broken up, but it had been mature and respectful. "That's complete garbage," I told Jake. "None of that happened. Not even close." Jake nodded. "Yeah, I figured. That's why I'm telling you. It doesn't sound like you at all, but they're really selling it hard. Thought you should know what's going around." I thanked Jake and finished my shopping in a daze. My hands were literally shaking as I loaded groceries into my Honda Civic. The whole drive home, I kept thinking about Claire. How could she do this? To me? We talked about the Logan situation multiple times after the breakup. She'd been so supportive, always there to listen when I needed to vent. Or so I thought. When I got home to my apartment, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I checked our old group chat from college. The one with me, Claire, Logan, and a few other friends from our circle. I hadn't looked at it in months, but my gut was telling me to investigate. What I found made me sick to my stomach. There were dozens of messages from after my breakup with Logan. Claire and Logan talking about me like I was some kind of unhinged psychopath. Claire was writing stuff like she's been texting him nonstop, and I'm honestly worried about her mental state. Logan was backing her up, saying things like she showed up at my apartment crying and wouldn't leave, and I had to block her on everything because she was getting scary. None of it was true. Not a single word. I screenshots everything, my hands trembling as I scrolled through message after message of pure lies. They'd crafted this entire narrative about me being unstable and obsessive. The worst part? They were doing it in a group chat with mutual friends, people I'd known for years. Update. I just discovered something that's made this whole situation even more twisted than I thought. Should I confront them directly, or is there a better way to handle this? Part of me wants to just disappear and start over somewhere else. I spent the next few days going through old messages and really thinking about the timeline of everything. That's when it all started clicking into place like some messed up puzzle. Claire had always been weird about my relationship with Logan, not obviously jealous, but looking back, there were signs. She'd make little comments about how Logan and I were so different, or how she didn't see it lasting. When Logan and I would hang out as a couple, Claire would find ways to insert herself into our plans. She'd text him directly instead of going through me, which I thought was just friendly at the time. Then I remembered something that made my blood run cold. About 2 weeks before Logan and I broke up, Claire had mentioned that she and Logan had been texting about some Netflix show they both watched. She said it was totally innocent and that they were just comparing notes. I didn't think anything of it because I trusted both of them completely. I went back through my old text conversations with Logan from around that time. Sure enough, he'd started acting different, more distant, less interested in making plans, taking forever to respond to my messages. I'd attributed it to work stress, but now I was seeing a different picture. So I did some more digging. I still had access to Logan's Netflix account because we'd shared it during our relationship, and he never changed the password. I checked the viewing history, and yep, he and someone else had been binge-watching shows together right up until our breakup. Shows I'd never heard of and definitely hadn't watched with him. The timeline was becoming crystal clear. Logan had been getting close with Claire behind my back. When he decided to end things with me, instead of being honest about it, they'd created this whole story to make me look like the bad guy. That way, Logan could maintain his image as the good guy who'd been forced to break up with his crazy girlfriend, and Claire could swoop in as the supportive friend who'd seen the signs all along. I found more evidence in my old Instagram DMs. Right after the breakup, several mutual friends had reached out asking if I was okay and if I needed help. At the time, I thought they were just being supportive. Now I realized they'd been checking on me because Logan and Claire had painted me as unstable. The final nail in the coffin came when I found Logan's old voicemails on my phone. I'd saved a few from our relationship, including one from the day before we broke up where he literally said, "I think we both know this isn't working, but I want to end things on good terms. You're an amazing person, and I hope we can stay friends." Nothing about me being crazy. Nothing about feeling threatened. Just a mature, honest conversation about incompatibility. But here's the kicker. I also found text messages between Logan and me from right after the breakup where he was asking to stay, friends, and even suggesting we grab coffee sometime to catch up. Not exactly the behavior of someone who felt threatened by a psycho ex-girlfriend. Update. I've got everything documented and I think I know what I need to do, but I'm honestly terrified about burning bridges with people I've known for years. Is it worth it to expose the truth if it means losing more friendships? This situation is about to get very real, very fast. I spent 3 sleepless nights staring at my laptop screen, drafting and redrafting what would become the most important email of my life. I had screenshots, I had voice messages, I had a timeline. That proved everything Logan and Claire had said about me was fabricated. But more than that, I had a plan. See, while I was doing my detective work, I'd also been applying for jobs in other cities. My graphic design skills were solid, and I'd been thinking about a change of scenery even before this whole drama exploded. A marketing firm in Portland had been courting me for months, and their offer was looking better and better, so I accepted the job, signed a lease on a cute apartment in Southeast Portland, and prepared to completely restart my life. But first, I was going to set the record straight. The email I sent was simple and direct. Subject line, setting the record straight. With evidence. I addressed it to everyone in our friend group, about 15 people total, including some I hadn't talked to in months. I started by explaining that I'd recently learned about the rumors circulating about my behavior after my breakup with Logan. Then I laid out the truth with receipts. I included screenshots of Logan's texts asking to remain friends post-breakup, voice message transcripts of our mature, respectful final conversations, screenshots of the group chat where Claire and Logan were fabricating stories about me, photos of Logan's Netflix viewing history showing him watching shows with someone else right up until our breakup. I also included some gems I'd found in old text conversations, Logan complaining to me about Claire being too clingy as a friend, Claire telling me she thought Logan was kind of boring and that she didn't get what I saw in him. Real, authentic stuff that showed their current partnership was built on lies and convenience. The email ended with this. I'm sharing this not for drama or revenge, but because the truth matters. I'm starting fresh in Portland next month, and I wanted to clear the air before I go. I hope everyone can learn from this situation and choose honesty in their relationships moving forward. Then I hit send and immediately felt this incredible weight lift off my shoulders. I spent that evening packing boxes and blasting Taylor Swift, feeling lighter than I had in months. My phone started buzzing almost immediately, but I ignored it. I had wine to drink and a future to plan. The next morning brought a tsunami of messages. My phone looked like a New Year's Eve fireworks display with all the notifications. Claire called me 17 times. 17. I let every single one go to voicemail. Logan sent a novel-length text that basically boiled down to, please, don't ruin my reputation. Too little, too late, buddy. But the messages that mattered came from real friends. People who'd known me for years and had always seen through the gossip. Jessica, my college roommate, texted, I knew something was off about their story. You're the most level-headed person I know. Mark from work wrote, good for you for standing up for yourself. Can't believe they tried to play you like that. Even Jake, who'd first told me about the rumors, sent a message saying he was proud of me for handling it with class and evidence instead of just fighting fire with fire. Update, the fallout has been absolutely insane. Some of these responses have me literally laughing out loud, while others are making me realize just how toxic this whole situation really was. Moving day is in 2 weeks, and I can't wait to put this drama in my rearview mirror. But first, let me tell you about the panic messages that started flooding in. The voicemails from Claire were something else. The first few were angry. She was screaming about how I'd humiliated her and ruined her reputation, and that I was supposed to be her best friend. By voicemail number 10, she was crying and begging me to please call back so we can work this out. Logan's approach was different but equally pathetic. He kept texting asking if we could talk like adults and find a way to move past this misunderstanding. He actually used the word misunderstanding, like accidentally ordering the wrong coffee is a misunderstanding, not fabricating an entire false narrative about someone's mental health. The best part, though, several mutual friends started forwarding me messages they were getting from Logan and Claire trying to do damage control. Logan was telling people that I'd taken things out of context and that he'd never meant for things to get so blown out of proportion. Claire was claiming she'd been trying to protect everyone involved and that I'd twisted her words, but the evidence was right there in black and white. Screenshots don't lie, voice messages don't lie, and Netflix viewing histories definitely don't lie. Meanwhile, I was getting messages from people I hadn't talked to in ages, thanking me for being honest. Turns out Logan and Claire had been spreading their poison to a wider circle than I'd realized. Emma from my old book club said she'd been confused when Claire told her I'd been harassing Logan because it seemed so out of character. Ryan from college said Logan had tried to get him to block me on social media because I was unstable. The manipulation had been so much deeper than I'd realized. 3 days after the email, Claire's mom tried calling me. Her mom, who I'd always liked and who'd been nothing but sweet to me during my friendship with Claire. I almost answered, but then I realized this wasn't my problem to solve. I'd told the truth with evidence. If Claire wanted to rebuild her reputation, she could start by actually being honest for once. Logan tried a different tactic and reached out through his brother, who I'd always gotten along with. The brother sent a thoughtful message acknowledging that Logan had messed up and asking if there was any way to resolve things privately. I appreciated his effort, but my response was simple. I've said what I needed to say. I'm moving forward with my life. The social media stalking was next-level ridiculous. Both Logan and Claire kept viewing my Instagram stories obsessively. I could see them watching every single post about my packing progress and job preparation. Claire even accidentally liked a photo I'd posted of my Portland apartment, then immediately unliked it. Girl was clearly spiraling. 2 weeks later, I loaded up my Honda with the last of my stuff and drove west. Portland welcomed me with rain and coffee shops and the most beautiful sense of possibility I'd felt in years. My new job was everything I'd hoped for. Creative, challenging, with colleagues who appreciated my work and didn't come with years of baggage and drama. I found a great Vietnamese place near my apartment, started rock climbing at a local gym, and even adopted a cat from the Humane Society. A orange tabby I named Mango, who became my adventure buddy. About a month into my Portland life, I was scrolling Instagram when I saw that Logan and Claire had made their relationship Facebook official. The comments section was interesting. Lots of congratulations, but also some pointed questions about the timeline. Jessica had commented interesting timing with a thinking emoji. Mark had posted some people deserve each other with a shrug emoji. Apparently, their romantic debut hadn't been received as warmly as they'd hoped. I also heard through the grapevine that Logan's new relationship status had reached his ex before me, a girl named Sarah who'd apparently been interested in him right after our breakup. Sarah had put two and two together pretty quickly and noped right out of that situation when she realized Logan's version of being single and ready to date had actually been emotionally cheating with my ex's best friend. Claire wasn't having much better luck in the friendship department. Several people from our college group had started distancing themselves from her after my email. Not because I'd asked them to or created some kind of ultimatum, but because they'd lost trust in her honesty. When someone lies that extensively about a close friend, it makes people wonder what they might be saying behind everyone else's backs. I started a blog about my Portland adventures, mostly food recommendations, and hiking spots, but occasionally I'd write about starting over and trusting your instincts when relationships feel off. The response was incredible. People shared their own stories about toxic friendships and manipulative exes. One post about recognizing gaslighting in friendships got shared hundreds of times. 6 months into my new life, both Logan and Claire sent apology emails, long, elaborate messages about how they'd made mistakes and hoped we could find a way to repair our relationships. Logan's was particularly rich. He'd apparently broken up with Claire after 3 months because their relationship wasn't built on the right foundation. No kidding, Sherlock. I read both emails, saved them in a folder labeled Too Little Too Late, and never responded. Instead, I kept building my new life. I joined a photography club and discovered I had a real talent for landscape shots. Started dating a park ranger named David who appreciated my straightforward communication style and had never heard of my crazy ex-girlfriend reputation because, plot twist, it had never existed. My Portland friend group was everything I'd never known. I was missing people who were honest about their feelings, who communicated directly instead of through manipulation and gossip. We'd have these amazing dinner parties where everyone actually listened to each other, and disagreements were handled with respect instead of behind-the-scenes character assassination. A year later, I was thriving. Promoted at work, featured in a local photography exhibit, planning a trip to Iceland with David. My Instagram was full of mountain views and coffee shop discoveries and pictures of Mango being adorable in various hiking gear. Sometimes I'd get notifications that Logan or Claire had viewed my LinkedIn profile or checked out my public Instagram posts. I never blocked them. I wasn't afraid of them seeing my success. If anything, I hoped it reminded them that lies and manipulation might work short-term, but authenticity and honesty build lasting happiness. The best revenge really was living well, and I was living very, very well. Recently, Jessica told me that Claire had asked about me at a mutual friend's wedding. Apparently, she'd seen my photography work online and wanted to know if I'd ever consider doing freelance work back home. Jessica shut that down pretty quickly with a simple, she's moved on and built a great life in Portland. Some bridges once burned by betrayal and lies aren't meant to be rebuilt, and that's perfectly okay. I learned that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. When people show you who they really are through their actions, believe them the first time. And sometimes the best thing you can do is pack up your life, drive towards something better, and never look back. Portland taught me that fresh starts aren't just about geography. They're about choosing authenticity over convenience, truth over comfort, and your own peace of mind over other people's opinions. Logan and Claire got exactly what they deserved, each other.